Absolutely. Here's a 500-word story that explores why seniors sleep less, told through a personal and relatable lens, while also offering gentle insomnia tips for the elderly. Why seniors sleep less. Insomnia tips for the elderly. When my grandmother moved in with us after Grandpa passed, I expected the usual adjustments, new routines, extra meals, and keeping her company. What I didn't expect was the quiet tapping of her footsteps at 3 a.m., night after night, as she wandered the hallway in her robe. She wasn't restless from grief. She simply couldn't sleep. And she wasn't alone. I learned quickly that many older adults struggle with sleep, and no one seems to talk about how deeply it affects their health, mood, and memory. At first, we thought it was just part of aging, but what really opened my eyes was when Grandma said, "I just don't feel tired anymore, but I feel exhausted all day." That contradiction stuck with me. I began researching and asking questions. It turns out that as people age, their internal body clock, known as the circadian rhythm, begins to shift. Seniors often feel sleepy earlier in the evening and wake up earlier in the morning. They also experience lighter, more fragmented sleep and wake more often during the night. On top of that, there were other culprits: chronic pain, medications, and even anxiety. Grandma had arthritis, and some nights the pain kept her awake, no matter how many pillows we piled around her. Her medication list read like a pharmacy catalog, and several had side effects that interfered with sleep. Add in the loneliness of losing her lifelong partner, and it was no wonder her nights felt so long and lonely. We decided to try a few small changes. Not a miracle cure, just some gentle shifts. First, we created a bedtime routine. We dimmed the lights an hour before bed, turned off the TV, and played soft classical music. We got her outside in the morning sunlight, even if just for a few minutes, to help reset her internal clock. We also swapped her late afternoon cup of tea for a non-caffeinated herbal blend and moved her dinner earlier so digestion wouldn't disrupt her rest. The biggest change came when we introduced a sense of calm before bed. A short conversation, a warm bath, sometimes just sitting in silence together. It wasn't about fixing her sleep. It was about creating a space for rest. She still had rough nights, of course, but slowly she started sleeping longer stretches. And even more importantly, she stopped feeling so alone in her insomnia. I learned that when seniors sleep less, it isn't always just age. It's a tangle of physical, emotional, and environmental factors. And while sleep might never be perfect again, small changes can make a world of difference. For caregivers, families, or anyone walking this journey with an elderly loved one, start with compassion, not frustration. Because behind every sleepless night is a story waiting to be understood. Let me know if you want a shorter version of this for a voiceover script or turned into an informative podcast-style voice clip. Absolutely. Here's an additional 500-word paragraph that continues the story and deepens the understanding of sleep challenges in older adults while offering more insight and gentle advice. As the weeks passed, I began noticing how interconnected Grandma's daytime habits were with her nighttime struggles. It wasn't just what happened at bedtime that affected her sleep, it was the entire rhythm of her day. On days when she stayed sedentary, dozing on the couch or skipping meals, her sleep was noticeably worse. But on days when she got even a little bit of movement, watering plants, folding laundry, or taking a short walk with me around the block, her sleep improved, even just slightly. I learned that seniors often get less physical activity, which can reduce the natural sleep drive, making it harder to feel tired at night. It sounds simple, but movement during the day became part of our quiet strategy, and it worked more often than not. We also started paying attention to her screen time. Though she wasn't scrolling a phone, she loved her evening TV shows. We had no idea the bright, artificial light from the screen was confusing her brain, making it harder for her body to produce melatonin, the hormone that tells us it's time to sleep. So we experimented. We lowered the screen brightness, turned on night mode lighting, and ended her viewing an hour before bed. Instead, we switched to reading together, or she would listen to a relaxing audiobook. Over time, her body responded better to the cues. Another thing that helped more than I expected was simply talking about sleep. Before, she kept her struggles to herself, probably assuming it was something she had to endure alone. But when we normalized the conversation, when I asked, "Did you sleep okay last night?" or "Do you want to try something different before bed?" she started to feel seen. Sleep, I realized, isn't just a physical act, it's deeply emotional. For seniors, it can come with layers of anxiety, fear of falling, memories that resurface in the silence of the night, or even a subconscious resistance to sleep because it feels too close to death. These are things most people don't want to say out loud, but they're real. When we acknowledge those fears gently, Grandma seemed lighter. One night, she surprised me. "You know," she said softly, "sometimes I don't sleep because I'm afraid I'll wake up more confused or not at all." It broke my heart, but it also deepened my understanding. Sleep isn't just rest, it's vulnerability. And for many seniors, especially those facing memory loss or health concerns, it's complicated. From that point on, I made it a priority to make her nights feel safe, not just quiet, but safe. A soft nightlight, her favorite blanket nearby, and a little framed photo of Grandpa on her bedside table helped more than any sleep aid ever could. It's easy to overlook sleep struggles in the elderly as just part of getting older. But when you dig a little deeper, there's so much we can do. Patience, routine, empathy, and small lifestyle shifts make a world of difference. Sleep may never be perfect, but it can be peaceful. And sometimes that's more than enough. Let me know if you'd like a condensed version turned into a short spoken message. Of course, here's a 200-word paragraph to wrap up the story with warmth and reflection, tying everything together. Looking back now, I realized that helping Grandma sleep better wasn't just about bedtime routines or herbal teas. It was about restoring dignity and presence to her nights. In a world that moves fast, we often forget how hard it is for the elderly to feel in control of their bodies, their time, and even their thoughts. Sleep, or the lack of it, can become a symbol of that loss. But when we show up with compassion instead of impatience, when we take the time to learn what helps and what hurts, we give them something more meaningful than rest. We give them care. Not the rushed clinical kind, but the kind that says, "You matter. You're not alone." Grandma still has nights when sleep slips away from her, but now she faces them with less fear and more comfort. And as a caregiver, I've learned that sometimes the most powerful change starts not with medicine, but with listening. If you're supporting an aging loved one through insomnia, know this: your efforts matter. Your presence matters. And in the quiet hours of the night, sometimes that's the most healing thing of all. Let me know if you want this story reshaped for a blog post, podcast, or voice narration.